Proverbs chapter 1, the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs chapter 1 serves as a powerful introduction to the entire book of Proverbs, laying a foundation for understanding its purpose, themes, and urgency. It begins with a clear declaration that these are the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David and king of Israel, establishing both the authority and divine inspiration behind the sayings that follow. The opening verses, 1-6, explain the intent behind the Proverbs, to impart wisdom, instruction, understanding, justice, judgment, and equity. They are designed not only for the simple or inexperienced to gain prudence and discretion, but also for the wise to grow even wiser. The passage underscores that true wisdom is not static but continually deepens through attentive learning and the pursuit of wise counsel. At the heart of Proverbs 1 is the statement in verse 7, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." This verse captures the central principle of biblical wisdom literature. Reverence for God is the foundational posture from which all true understanding flows. Without it, one remains spiritually blind and vulnerable to deception. In contrast, a fool, defined not by intellect but by moral and spiritual insensitivity, rejects this foundation, refusing the guidance that leads to life and truth. The chapter then transitions into a heartfelt exhortation from a father to a son, symbolizing the broader relationship between God and his people. The father pleads for his son to embrace the instruction of both parents, presenting it not as a burden, but as a crown and a chain, ornaments of honor and protection. These instructions are not just moral rules but life-shaping wisdom meant to guard the young from destructive influences. Verses 10-19 offer a vivid warning against succumbing to peer pressure and the enticement of sinners. The scenario described involves a group urging violence and greed, lying in wait to exploit the innocent and enrich themselves through unjust gain. The father warns his son not to walk in their path, explaining that such people are ultimately setting a trap for themselves. Though they think they are hunting others, they are, in reality, pursuing their own ruin. Greed blinds people to consequences, and in chasing wealth unjustly, they forfeit their lives. The proverb reveals a moral law of the universe. Those who live by violence and deceit inevitably fall into the very traps they set for others. The final section of the chapter introduces wisdom as a personified voice, a woman calling out in the streets, pleading with the simple, the mockers, and the fools to turn from their ways. This image of wisdom crying out publicly symbolizes that God's truth is not hidden or obscure, it is available to all who are willing to listen. Yet, tragically, many ignore the call. Their rejection of wisdom is not passive, it is an active choice to resist correction, disdain counsel, and mock truth. The consequences of this rejection are severe. Wisdom declares that a time will come when the tables are turned, when calamity strikes and those who refuse to listen will desperately seek help, but it will be too late. Their suffering will be the natural result of their own choices. The chapter concludes with a stark contrast between the fate of the foolish and the destiny of the wise. Those who ignore wisdom will be destroyed by their own complacency and pride. But those who listen, those who choose the fear of the Lord and walk in wisdom, will live in safety, free from the dread of evil. This final promise is not only about physical security, but also spiritual peace and confidence, knowing one is walking in harmony with God's truth. Proverbs 1 is a powerful call to take wisdom seriously. It introduces the fear of the Lord as the gateway to true knowledge and presents wisdom as both a moral guide and a protective force. Through its vivid warnings and poetic personification of wisdom, it urges the reader to make a choice, to follow the path of life through God's instruction or to follow the path of destruction through foolish rebellion. The stakes are high, and the consequences are real, but so is the promise of security for those who listen.
The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity, to give prudence to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. To understand a proverb and an enigma, the words of the wise and their riddles. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother, for they will be a graceful ornament on your head and chains about your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. If they say, Come with us, let us lie in wait to shed blood, let us lurk secretly for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them alive like Sheol, and whole like those who go down to the pit. We shall find all kinds of precious possessions. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in your lot among us. Let us all have one purse. My son, do not walk in the way with them. Keep your foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, but they lie in wait for their own blood. They lurk secretly for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone who is greedy for gain. It takes away the life of its owners. Wisdom calls aloud outside. She raises her voice in the open squares. She cries out in the chief concourses. At the openings of the gates in the city she speaks her words. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? For scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn at my rebuke. Surely I will pour out my spirit on you. I will make my words known to you. Because I have called and you refused, I have stretched out my hand and no one regarded. Because you disdained all my counsel and would have none of my rebuke, I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your terror comes like a storm, and your destruction comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you. Then they will call on me, but I will not answer. They will seek me diligently, but they will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would have none of my counsel, and despised my every rebuke. Therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own way, and be filled to the full with their own fancies. For the turning away of the simple will slay them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will dwell safely, and will be secure without fear of evil.